Hi, this is Dave Perry and you're watching Retro Gaming Revival live.
Good evening, everybody. It's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday. I haven't lost a day this time. I'm totally on the money with this. It is Tuesday. It is Retro Gaming Revival Live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There seems to be quite a lot of people here already. The chat is already starting to fill out. So yeah, let's go around the table and we will get to the crux of it. So joining us this evening, we have, for the first time in a little while, all five of us, which is quite wonderful. Quite wonderful. So we have Mr. Triangle Face Tim.
Hello.
We have Mr. Blunners.
Hi, everyone.
We have Mr. Ryan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
We have Vanilla Dorbs, just because I wanted to get that in there.
Get it in. Greetings.
And welcome. So we have decided that it's been a few days since the EXP has gone live. So we figured what better way to celebrate than to just discuss it, because there's lots of good things, lots of indifferent things, just lots of things to talk about. It's been an interesting release, so we thought, why not do it live with everybody and just have some fun. So if people have some bits in the chat, feel free to chuck some questions in or anything you want to say in there, get it in there. We'll definitely try our best to try and keep up with it and get some stuff in there. Let's see if we can go through who we've got in the chat. We have PZ. It's a name that I've not seen before, so welcome. We have Mr. Andrew Joseph. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I've tried to put new batteries in my mouse already, and it's already giving me jip. Look at that. We have Hunter Nord. Welcome. We have Mr. Rob Taylor. Good evening, sir. Come on, mouse. Don't play buggers with me now, unless anybody else wants to take over the mouse. Come on,
it's quite entertaining watching you do it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. You know, it's what we like to do. We like to watch each other struggle a little bit. Mr. Al, how are we doing? Mr. Ali, I am getting there. There we go. Mr. Ali, how are we doing? We have another new name, Cliff. Oh, my word. Whiffen, how are we doing, Mr. Cliff? We have Mark. Oh, my God, this mouse is doing my nut in. I'm definitely going to have to pass this over in a minute.
That's Mark from Evercade Evolution magazine. So
Mark,
welcome.
Ah,
Nice.
How are we doing? Nice to see you there, Mark.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Mr. Bricks, always good to see you there. We have Saint Michelle from our stream the other day. Hello, how are you doing? I hope you are resting, and yeah, don't be overdoing that. The chat is very, very full.
Can you just see the energy drink that she sent me? It's in the
Oh yes, you need to do a live taste test at
I'll
some
do
point.
a little taste that later on.
Mr. Essex Retro, how are you, sir? Always wonderful to see you. And then someone we've not seen for a while, Gina Bells. We haven't seen Gina for a little while either. So always asking what's for dinner. Excellent. So
and Dave Lister from Red Dwarf, who I was actually messaging today. I don't know if I can say his real name, but yeah, I've been having a little chat with him today. So hello,
Dave Lister.
I won't say his real name.
10 million years in the future.
I will.
The last human that's alive.
Smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast. But yeah, I was having a nice little chit chat with him
That's
earlier.
Rimmer, Dorbs.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
different
Rimmer.
character.
That's the same thing, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean, it's not.
shocking.
Okay.
Shocking.
We won't get into
Raw
that.
fans
We'll
around the
unpack
world are
that.
now just curling up in a ball and going, oh no.
Didn't Red Dwarf come up on a stream the
Right,
other day?
Smeghead. There you go, Smeghead.
We were talking about Red Dwarf, weren't we?
It did, yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That might have been with Saint Michelle, actually.
Yeah, I think it was actually. Just haven't thought about Red Dwarf and it really come up.
Good show.
Right.
Anyway, before we deviate on a tangent, before we've even started a topic, let's dive in. So, what we thought we would do to kick it off is to kind of go through our own quickly our own little backgrounds with Evercade, because we've all got slightly different experiences and slightly different sort of levels of commitment. So we figured, why not do that to start with? So the first, we're going to give you a little stroll around memory lane of our Evercade background. So to kick it off, I would say to Tim, but he appears to have gone. Oh no, he's back. He looked like he'd frozen for just a moment.
He's almost gone
No,
Han Solo
yeah.
from the Star Wars film, hasn't
Yeah.
he? He looks like he's just
background. But...
maybe leave triangle
Cool.
face to sort out his
They even
face.
come back.
He's always got internet issues.
He might do. Oh.
I've got an idea.
Right, Tim, we'll let you sort that out. We'll clonk you on.
Do your
Clonk
sign
you on.
language.
We'll clonk you on mute for just a moment until you get that sorted through there. We'll jump to Mr. Blunners there. Mr. Blunners, let's start with your Evercade background.
Right, so it's going to be a short one. I actually don't have anything Evercade. No, I don't have any Evercade VS. Don't have any. I was looking to get an EXP. Like, I'm the ideal candidate for this new topic from Blaze. I'm someone they want to get in. So I was actually looking at an EXP. It's something I was looking to get into, but I am quite lucky that I think I'm going to wait until the next lot are going to come out. But yeah, that's my background. Is I'm completely newbie to it. And obviously I know what's going on with it, but I'll be a complete newbie to it.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Ryan, your background with Evercade.
Yeah, my background's a bit longer. Like, how long have we got? I was an initial adopter of the original Evercade and got the bundle that came with the 10 cartridges and the coin, and then ended up selling that because I had issues with that Evercade. And about 9 months after that, when the VS was launched, I pre-ordered. I thought I'll give Blaze another chance. I pre-ordered the VS, the limited edition bundle, and then at the same time I reordered a handheld with the 10 games that I'd sold 9 months previous. And I'm glad I did, because I had no issues with that new handheld. I collect all the cartridges. I think I'm 5 missing from a complete set at the moment, but I should be getting those 5 for Christmas if I've been a good boy this year, so that should bring me back up to date. And I used to host an Evercade podcast, you could call it, on this channel. So I've spoke to game developers from who have worked with Blaze. So John Rue, who done the amazing Crystal West on the Indie Heroes cart. I've also spoken on this stream to Sean and Ryan from Evercade. So I've had chats with them. I've spoken to people from Evercade Evolution magazine as well. So I feel like I've got quite a good general knowledge for Evercade. And if I've forgotten anyone, I apologise, because I spoke to quite a lot of people. And I've also appeared on other YouTube channels on their Evercade streams as well. So I'm quite out there in the world of Evercade.
Excellent. Mr. Tim, you appear to be back with us in the room, which is wonderful.
Great.
We've gotten rid of the we've gotten rid of your internet goblins. So Tim, your Evercade background.
Yeah, so I was first introduced to the Evercade by Ryan, actually. He messaged me saying, "Oh, we're looking at this console, think it might be your kind of thing." And at first I was like, I've got enough consoles and really need anything. But I kept on going back and having a look at it. And I eventually decided. Funnily enough, I ordered mine from Amazon, not as a pre-order, and I got mine before Ryan, I think. So he was a bit determined. So I messaged him saying, "Oh, it's arrived." It's like he hadn't got his yet. And yeah, I think initially I wasn't overly wowed with the carts that it comes with in that initial pack. What comes with, like Atari 1 and things like that. So I wasn't overly, I didn't play it loads, but then I picked up a few of the other things. The thing that really sold me on the Evercade was things like Indie Heroes and Mega Cat Studios. I think once I got those carts, I really enjoyed them. So I quite like the sort of more modern retro games as opposed to sort of picking up the old carts. I've not really gone for a complete set. I've just gone for the carts that interest me. So I'm not overly fussed about having every single one. I've just gone for the ones that I like the look of. I'm hoping to get a couple more for Christmas as well. I think I'm going for Allah's Awakening Cathedral cart. Is probably the top of my list because that seems to be getting quite good reviews. People seem to like that one. And then I did get the Evercade Founders VS when that came out. Because I thought that was a really good deal. Came with some really good carts. And yeah, that's actually really decent. I really like the features on it. You know, you can fit 2 carts in at once, and there's secret games, and there's different button combinations to unlock additional games. And I like the game of the month feature and all of that. So yeah, quite happy with my VS. But I haven't gone for the EXP. But I'll talk more about that later.
Exactly. We will get.
But yeah, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But yeah,
no, let's kill it there. We are slowly getting to the EXP. We will get to the EXP stuff. We're going to chat about the EXP because that is why we're here. But before we do that, Mr. Dorbs, your Evercade history.
Yeah, before I do, I just want to bring this comment to everyone's attention. It's quite a harsh allegation that Butters has made. For those who don't know, I did win a quiz last Friday, St. Michelle's quiz. And obviously I smashed Butters to pieces, and he's very, very upset about it. So
there's context behind that. On its own, it didn't seem offensive to me. It's like, doesn't everyone use Google?
I find it very offensive. Very offensive. So yeah, commiserations, Butters. It was a good competition. Yeah, my Evercade history experience. Yeah, Ryan told me about it first of all during lockdown. Looked quite good, so I ordered the all-in-one bundle, I think it was called, with the coin, 10 carts, the carry case, and the Evercade console itself. I remember getting really excited, looking forward to the countdown. It got delayed for whatever reason, and then it finally arrived. And I do remember I phoned Ryan up, did a video phone call so we could see how good it was. Put a cart in, and then I just couldn't get it out. Literally, just could not get it out. It was so stuck in there. Eventually got it out, played a bit for a couple of evenings, quite enjoyed it, and then I realised that I had a bugged game, so contacted Blaze or Evercade, whatever you want to call them, on Twitter, and then they blocked me. So yeah, basically I sold it from that point on, and I've not really had a happy relationship since. I have got a VS Fountains. There it is, still sealed, probably one of the only 10 in the UK that's still sealed. Oh, just
the collector in you.
So yeah, I've still got it sealed. There it is in all its full glory. It is quite a nice console. And also I think my proudest moment on the Evercade is completing Sly Spy on Ryan's VS Christmas last year.
Yeah, that was good fun.
And that's a funny story, because you're not Evercade's biggest fan, but when you came around and played that VS, we couldn't get you off it. Astro Smash,
I did enjoy it, yeah.
Spy. The fact you sat there and completed a game whilst the 4 of us had to sit and watch.
To be fair, I did enjoy it. I'm not going to be all negative. I am going to be positive as well, and I did enjoy playing it. I enjoyed Astro Smash as well on the Intellivision one.
Yeah,
really enjoyed playing that. So yeah, I would say my experience, some of it's been positive, but the majority, I'm sort of like that. The majority has been very, very negative, sadly. Very negative.
Cool.
I wish them well. I hope they make a success of stuff.
So a very quick whistle-stop tour of my Evercade experience. I remember Dorbs and Ryan sort of trying to convince me that like this new thing's coming out. You like physical media, you need to get on this. Initially, I was like, I don't need another console just yet, but we'll see what happens. There was definitely some issues with that the first run of things, you know, some of the tight cartridges, some of the light bleeding, just a few things that made me think I do want to jump in on this, but I'm going to hold fire. And then I can't remember, it was maybe a month or two after Ryan sort of dived back in, he said they seem to have sorted out these issues. So took the plunge, did the all-in bundle, whatever it was called. So I got the first 10 carts, the original handheld, and had an absolute riot with it. It was really good fun. All the issues were sorted. The cartridges just slipped in and out really nicely. Great selection of games on those first 10 carts. Obviously, one of the big selling points for me, as I keep saying all the time, Xenowood, Tangle Crisis, Xeno Crisis and Tanglewood. I mean, that would be an interesting splurge, wouldn't it? Running around the Fox in the Xeno Crisis universe. But yeah, great way to own that game physically for like under £100. I mean, fantastic. I then jumped into the VS. I think within certainly the first 6 weeks of it coming out. Absolutely fantastic system. Really, really enjoy the VS. I've got it set up here next to me in the office. I do play it quite a lot. I use that mainly for the arcade games because I like being able to play the arcades with the TV there and sit back a little bit. It's really enjoyable. I do have a bit of FOMO over the EXP, even with all the, I don't want to say controversy, but certainly it's dividing opinion a little bit at the moment. But I still do have a bit of FOMO over it. That screen looks so good. I really, really want to play that screen. So yeah, that's a very quick space of me. So we've got a good range of people that are sort of into it, some people that are sort of a bit indifferent on it and just kind of enjoy it for what it is, people that have sort of had not such a fantastic experience with it, and someone that is sort of the prime market for a new console for it, really. So I think between the five of us, I think we've got a pretty big spectrum of experience with the system, which is great because that creates good discussion. So we can, before we jump straight into the EXP itself, I think it's probably worth running over the previous two releases. So the initial release for the first Evercade handheld, and then the release for the VS, and how those two releases, certainly in my opinion, were vastly different. There was certainly with that first handheld, there was issues. No issues with the games necessarily running. There are a couple of carts. I had a faulty cart that didn't work, but they replaced that within 3 days. So I can't complain about the customer service side of things. But certainly that first handheld, it had some issues. Some of the manufacturing wasn't quite on point, but they did fix it. After those first run of handhelds came out, they fixed the problems that were there, and they just aren't there anymore, which is great. And for the price of that handheld, was it £60, £70 or something with a cartridge? I mean, it's great value for money for me. I don't know how anybody else sort of feels about that as a release.
I definitely think the price point made it easy to jump on. So it's I think I got it £80, I think, for when I picked up my first one, which came with 3 carts, I believe. So 3 carts and the console for £80 just seemed like it was worth a punt, really. And then like the VS, can't remember how much the VS Founders cost, but I can remember thinking it was quite good value for what you got and what was included.
I think it was 180. I'm sure, was it 180?
Yeah, and that's pretty reasonable, isn't it, for a console? And how many carts did that come with? That came with
6.
a few carts as well. 6 carts.
It came with a few.
Yeah, and it came with like a little metal case thing, and it had like the poster and a key ring and a few other bits. And you got your name and the credits and all that sort of stuff. So for 180, I thought that was quite a good deal, really.
Yeah, it wasn't as good a deal as the original Evercade release. The all-in bundle, that was the best deal. I think that was 100 and I want to say it's £165.
Yeah,
from Fun Stock, and that came with the first 10 cartridges, plus the handheld, plus a case, plus a limited edition coin,
which I still got.
So really, the handheld was free. That was exceptional value. You couldn't argue with that. And if people were saying the screen wasn't great, then it's good enough for that price. You've basically got the handheld for free. So like with Tim with the Founders VS, that was pretty good value for money for a home console. Never came with an HDMI lead, but do you need HDMI?
Everyone's got one of those, haven't you?
Everyone's got one of those.
Power brick as well?
No, it didn't. It didn't come with a. And it's the disappointing thing with the VS now. It's just a USB lead, isn't it? And everything's moving to USB-C. So trying to find one of those leads at home now is a little bit more tricky because most things are moving away from it. So it's a shame that they weren't more future proofing that, but it's not the end of the world. You can still buy those leads all over the place.
Yeah, easily available.
Yeah, I felt that VS release was really well timed, because you remember in the build up to it, we were sort of, I think we'd all sort of joked, didn't we? We were like, imagine if it's just a cable to connect your Evercades to do 2-player games, and then it turned out to be a home system, and you're like, all right, this is interesting. A nice way to be able to play some of these games without having to have your handheld out. It had a really nice long cable for the controller. The console itself is really, in my opinion, it's really pretty. Just unplug it here. So I mean, it's a nice small sort of compact system. I think it's, I like the white. I think it's really pretty. It just reminds me very much of an NES, having the lid on it like that.
Oh, why have you got a cartridge in that slot and not the left one? Why have you done it round?
Oh no! I tell you what it is I did have Interplay in there as well, and I was playing that in bed the other night, so I took it out to play in bed. So yeah, there is a reason for that. Yeah, was tired and thought I want to play a game, but I don't want to be anything too hectic. So yeah, I thought I'm just going to take that and play some Earthworm Jim in bed. But yeah, the VS I think is a great system. I thought the launch for that was pretty spectacular. Actually, the price points for the Founders Edition, as we've said, the price points for just the regular version that I got, which came with 2 arcade cartridges, was incredibly well priced. It was a really good release, and it's still a solid system. People still, are buying that today, which is great. More people should be buying the VS because it's a fantastic system.
And don't forget, we did I think the world's first unboxing, or definitely the UK's first unboxing video as well.
We did.
On our YouTube
We absolutely did.
Yeah.
Soon to be completely overrun by everybody else's unboxings, but we were the first. We did it first.
We were the first for the limited edition VS is on our channel. Daubs.
Daubs was one hand, one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Doing it one-handed.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim's gone.
Tim may flit in and out. We'll give him a pass on this one. Try. Yes, if anyone's seen Tim out and about, I
haven't got the phone out actually, but yeah.
Yes, as we've
just
said before.
Put your stuff in the chat.
But yeah, we have said before that number does work if people want to text something and it's not too filthy. We will read it out. So if people see Tim, well, we found him again already.
Shocking behaviour already.
Well, I have the phone's in my bedside cabinet and I can't be bothered to go out and get it.
I'm here. I don't know what's going on. I do apologise for any
It's all right, bud.
disappearing.
You disappear and reappear as often as is needed, mate. Don't worry too much. Cool. So we sort of have a release for the first handheld, which was, a bit flaky, a bit wobbly, but then it really did pick itself up and kind of bring it back, I think, towards, the 6 month, 9 month mark. As someone said in the chat a second ago, it was Andrew, wasn't it? He says they do try and listen to, to people's issues. And I think they really did for that first handheld. The VS has had, in my opinion, significantly less problems and has been a really, really solid system. Regular updates. It's a great system. So that moves us swimmingly onto the main topic of this evening, which is the EXP release. So this system was quite a big, I thought it was a massive announcement because for what feels like ever, all people have said about that original handheld is, yes, it works. Yes, it's great. However, it doesn't feel or look too premium. The screen on it isn't great. The viewing angles aren't overly wonderful. It's not got Wi-Fi. It's only got one shoulder button on left and right, so 2 shoulder buttons. It feels like it's just missing a few things to make it really good. Then the VS came out, but people were still sort of going, yeah, but where's that? Where's that new handheld, that one that we were sort of really clamoring for? So when they announced the EXP, it was like a really big, I thought it was quite a big deal, especially for people in that are really into the Evercade. And there are some people that are really into this system, which is great. It's certainly good for Blaze and certainly good for Evercade. Announcing the Capcom collection, all that build up around it was like, wow, this is great. This is really, really good. The hype was pretty high, I thought, certainly with people that like physical media and certainly people that like the Evercade. And, it was certainly on its way to being that really big deal. There was the unfortunate incident a week or 2 ago where the robbery, which is, is still sort of being felt, I think, by quite a lot of people. And it is a real shame that has happened. There's a lot of people in the UK and US that aren't getting their black handhelds, which I have to say, from people posting the videos and screenshots of them, they actually do look pretty cool. I still prefer the white one, but the black one does look pretty cool. So it was a really sort of almost like a missed start for them, which I do feel really bad for them as well, because no one wants that, and no one sort of really deserves that either. But yeah, then people were starting to get the white handheld, and it's sort of been a little bit divisive. There's been a lot of good things. There's been some not so good things, and dependent upon sort of how you choose to talk about that, kind of pigeonholes you, I guess, into a bit of an area which is, possibly a bit unfair. There's, people have almost drawn lines in the sand, sort of over this, which is a real shame, because, you should be able to, speak about something as long as you're not being, deliberately annoying or deliberately nasty about something. Then, people should be able to sort of, by all accounts, kind of speak like adults about it. So yeah, the EXP release. Where do we start? I've
Can
kind of
I
given it.
just? Someone reminded me today. They thought that the EXP announcement back in, was it June, was rushed early, because if you remember, I posted in an Evercade group about around June time, something like, the Evercade handheld seems very dated now. It's not got Wi-Fi. The screen's not as good as it could be. And then loads of people were commenting. Does anyone else remember this? Then all of a sudden, the EXP launch trailer came out, and lots of people were saying that was down to you, Ryan. And all those like negative comments on that post, saying that the Evercade was difficult to update. I don't know if Andrew will probably say no, it wasn't anything to do with my post, but I like to think,
Ryan,
I like to think that I
do you
did give
think
him a little nudge at one point.
Do you think it's something to do with you?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, of course not. No one's going to listen to what I've got to say. But I was reminded of it
Was
today, and that post went crazy, didn't it? And I just posted just a general kind of question to people, and it got a lot of interaction. So,
but
yeah.
What?
It's a fair point, though, considering how long the Evercade's been out. It does seem quite soon to release like a whole other console for it, or an upgraded console.
I think it needed it. Let's face it. But what?
Yeah,
I'm going to start off on a positive. The Evercade handheld, I felt it was quite a good unit. It felt quite good in the hands. I know they had screen issues, dead pixels, lines, etc., but I didn't have any of that at all. I didn't have any charging issues with it. The only issue I had was getting the cartridges in and out, and a bugged game. So apart from that, my handheld experience was, reasonably positive. So I'm not going to start slagging it off and saying it's garbage and this, overall it was quite a positive experience. Yes, I had to sell it because obviously I just wasn't playing it because the games were bugged. But yeah, I thought I'd get a little positive in there before we start talking about the EXP release, just to show other people in the community that we're just not all negative about it. We are going to discuss positives about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come on to that when I have a little ramble at the end, not necessarily about the EXP, but just in general, this idea of, like negativity and stuff. And I will keep it short, but it's a real thing, which is I've sat on it for weeks, if not maybe months now, and you've all told me to, let it go, and I'm now at that point where you're like, I'm going to say something. But
well, it's the people. The issue I have is if someone's negative, and they've got a valid reason to be negative, i.e., and we'll get to it. A cartridge is stuck in a brand new console that you've brought. You want to tell people that you've got an issue, but it's those people who are like, I'm all right, Jack, to cut a phrase that someone used this week on our Facebook group, and that's the issue that I have. It's like, just because you haven't got an issue doesn't mean other people haven't. And I thought the whole idea of the Evercade community, so to speak, is that everyone's trying to help each other and make this as good as it can be.
I'm in a few retro pie groups, and literally that is just everything in there is people asking about how to fix bugs. The whole thing is just like, oh, this isn't working, that isn't working. It's not there for people just talk about what they like about the system. It's because retro pies are quite temperamental. You have to know what you're doing. So it's people asking for advice and helping how to fix bugs. So this just comes with a group, doesn't it? If you're in a group, you want to discuss issues and look for fixes, recommendations and stuff.
But anyway, before we dive onto that as a topic, because we can come onto that a bit later on, let's run with the EXP's release. So certainly over the last, how long has it been out? When did it come out? Was it a week yet? The time just doesn't exist
last Friday.
anymore. Last Friday.
But people were getting it the week earlier because Argos started delivering it earlier. So you could say it's been out, 10 days now?
Not Funstock.
No, I don't know about Funstock, but I just know Argos was sending it out. They sent it out a week before the initial release date.
There was a few places that have done that with games before. I know people were getting, Dorbs' favourite game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, were getting that about a week early at one point.
Oh, how depressing.
But yeah, so I mean, it's not really an elephant in the room, is it? We've said it once about the original handheld. The main I guess issue that some people are getting, and I will say some people because it isn't everybody. If in the chat, if you've got an EXP, definitely, if we're discussing something, chuck it in the chat as to whether or not you're experiencing it, whether you're not experiencing it. We really do genuinely want to hear how people are, getting on with it. Just keep it friendly. If someone doesn't agree with you, don't try and rip them apart. Let's keep it friendly in the chat though, please. But yeah, the big one for me is the fact that some of the carts still stick, which is not great, and that it doesn't seem to be necessarily related to just the original 10 original carts. So the first run, the early adopters, who had tight cart issues anyway. It doesn't seem to just necessarily be them. There's definitely videos and screenshots of the IRIM cart sticking. I mean, sticking is a kind word. It's really tight, really tight. You can see a guy trying to put the cartridge into the system, and they're having to really push it in, and you shouldn't have to do that.
I think even the Incredible Hulk couldn't get that cartridge out in that video that I've seen on their Reddit page.
Incredible.
It's literally the blokes like that, he can't even get it out.
So it can't be a. I don't know. I can't. Maybe Andrew would have a bit of intel on it. It can't be necessarily a manufacturing problem, because it's not happening to everybody.
There's a specific batch. So they've done an announcement on the Evercade Facebook group, on their website. Sorry, I don't know if it's been posted elsewhere because I haven't seen it. But it says here, we are aware that a certain specific cart batch is tight in the Evercade EXP. The affected carts are 1 to 10 and are limited to those produced in the first batch of those carts. And it goes on to say that it's a cart size an issue. The effective batch has a batch code so it can be identified. This code is CO220. So I'm assuming that is a code on the back here somewhere. I don't know. But basically, if you've got any of those and it's carts 1 to 10, they're the ones that you're going to have issues with.
Yeah.
So, but what about the IRIM cart then that's been stuck, and the C64 carts that have been stuck? Because that's on all their socials. Well, the ones that I'm not blocked from. That's I've seen that on their Reddit page. People have got C64 carts, and there's a video of an IRIM cart stuck in a black one. So they can't just say it's just 1 to 10 when it's clear evidence that new carts are also getting stuck. So it's not ideal. And yeah, people can file it down, sand it down, but you shouldn't have to do that.
Well, it's like someone said, buying an Evercade isn't a hobby, crafting hobby, is it? You don't buy an Evercade to get into sanding things down.
No.
And an Evercade don't tell you to do that, to be fair. Their official word is, over time it will wear down from just inserting it in and taking out. However, watching some of those videos, like Crazy Burgers, for example, did he put in Atari one?
It was Atari one.
I honestly thought he was not going to get that cartridge out, and that's quite worrying for a system that's cost you £129.
Yeah,
you should be able to put any cartridge for that system into it without issue of putting your finger through the screen trying to pull the blooming thing out.
Well, look at Metal Jesus using a knife. I mean, come on, that's mad.
Well, that's just stupidity doing that.
That is really, really silly. I certainly would not recommend anyone, especially in the chat, if you get a cartridge stuck, do not get a Stanley knife out and try and get it out with this. That is not an option. There's and again, this is, I'm just going to highlight the customer service that Blaze do have, because it wasn't great to start with. However, their customer service, certainly since the re-release of the original handheld, has been pretty top level, I have to say. There was a chap in one of the groups who must have used a knife of some sort to get his cartridge out, didn't get it out, scratched the cartridge and scratched the console, and then I think it was Ryan from Blaze popped in the chat and basically said, look, get in touch with us, we'll sort you out. And you're thinking, that's pretty good level of customer service, considering, all right, so the cart is tight, that maybe shouldn't have happened in the first place, but however, this person has chosen to use a knife to get this cartridge out of their console. They've damaged their console of their own accord, theoretically, and they're kind of like, get in touch with us, we'll sort you out. I find it difficult to really fault the customer service when it comes to this thing, because they are pretty good at getting on it, trying to help people out and get things sorted. But yeah, it shouldn't really be happening quite as much as it seems to be at the moment. There definitely seems to be a
this is a
pattern
good
to it at
point
the
here
moment.
from Obsolete Worlds in the chat. Why didn't they simply include the VS style lip? Never had an issue with the tight carts on that because of the design.
Mhm.
And it is, the VS is, you know, it is almost perfect as a retro console, I
Mhm.
would say. And you can get the cartridges in any cartridge, not like a Nintendo NES cartridge, but any Evercade cartridge you can insert and get out very easily because it's got that lip thing. So I don't know why, like he says, that would have been the ideal solution to this. Include that in the design of the EXP.
Or just have a game, the Game Boy, when you push the on button and a little plastic lever come out and slotted in on top of the cart. Just have something as simple as that. I mean, that's what's that, 1989, 30 years ago. You have something simple like that. No, I'm not joking. I'm just saying, have something simple like that. So you've got the cart, there's a little groove, thing comes out, and it's kept in place. Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah,
little clicker.
Yeah, but I think the reason why they haven't done that is because they like the back of the console to look really clean, don't they, and look really snug, and having that would maybe ruin that effect to some people.
But
They
then
might
what's worse, having people using knives and getting stuff, getting carts stuck in there and putting videos and putting complaints everywhere. I've seen loads of stuck carts, and I don't think it's doing their reputation any good, unfortunately.
I mean, I have to agree with Ali there as well. That's a really good point. You Neo Geo carts will definitely get stuck in your EXP. So
yeah, he knew what I meant. Any Evercade cart should be able to go in and out of any of their systems with no worry.
Speaking of like the design, you mentioned like how it looks plush at the back. It's one thing that puts me off going for the Black Founders Edition one, because you've got the white carts going in the black console, and I just don't think that looks very nice. I think the white one actually looks better. I'd rather go for the white one.
Well, with the original black handheld, which came out when the Evercade was very first released, the back was white, and that looked so much. So I had a black front, but the back was white, and maybe that they should have done that with the EXP. I don't know if we've got a picture here. I don't know if you've saved that, Dorbs, but it didn't look particular. And I know people say, I don't look at the back of my console when I'm playing it.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
I look at the screen. So it is a fair point. And you could say Game Boy had various different coloured consoles and the cartridges were all grey. But then they all had the little picture on the front, didn't they? So it wasn't that noticeable.
So I mean, I think the cart issue is probably the one that people are possibly the most annoyed about, because it's happened before, and it is a shame. But like Ryan said at the beginning, that does seem to be a particular batch of consoles. So
because I was going to say that there does appear to be quite a few people who said that they've got theirs, it's great, there's no issues, and they're really happy with it. So it's not like it's happening on every single one. So,
I've seen Chad's video. He's very happy with his. Goes in like a knife and butter, apparently. So I'm pleased for him. But yeah, some of the other ones I've seen is just laughable. In the nicest way. It is quite funny. You've got to have a sense of humor about this thing, where someone's just literally going like that. No, it's not coming out. It's not coming out. And getting a hammer and chisel. No, it's not coming out. You got to laugh at it. You got,
But yeah, I guess let's not forget, the only people who you're going to see posting things in the whole are people with issues.
Yeah,
we need to remember that. So the majority of people are probably very happy with their EXP, and they've had no issues at all. And they're not even on social media or not aware of any Facebook groups, or they don't use Twitter or Reddit or anything like that. So there's probably a silent majority, I would say, with EXPs at the moment. But the unfortunate thing is, those with issues, it has snowballed a bit over the last few days, and we are seeing quite a few.
Yeah, I'd say specifically maybe that last 24-hour period. Certainly in the various groups that there are online for the Evercade, certainly the last 24 hours has been a bit. Yeah, it's gotten I don't know, out of hand's the wrong word, but it's definitely been busy with people sort of discussing their issues. But yeah, like you say, Ryan, it is always going to be the people that talk the loudest are genuinely the people that are not having a good time with something or are particularly anti something. You know, you can extrapolate that to literally any conversation about anything that exists. You normally only hear loudly about the people that are unhappy. There are, like you say, yeah, lots of people that are probably very happy. You know, there's a few people in the chat that have already said there's a working great, and that's really good. And I am very pleased that it is working for you know, for those people, because you know, people have been very excited for this console, and the fact that it is working for those people is superb. But yeah, I would say the cart issue is probably the one that is the most irritating. What other sort of things have people been discussing?
Light bleeding.
Yeah, that was on
like buttons getting stuck, things like that.
Yeah, the light bleeding
game's
one
not loading.
is a bit of a weird one, because I mean, I don't really understand a huge amount about the manufacturing process. I don't know what it is that makes that light bleed. Is it the plastic they use? Is it I don't know. I mean, it has to be, doesn't it? It has to be the material that's being used, maybe, that sort of causes the light bleed. But it's definitely annoying. You know, it's not going to break your system, and it's certainly not going to ruin the system by any stretch. But it does look a bit unpleasant. You know, imagine turning your switch on or anything on like that, and you know, where all the LEDs are, there's just, you know, extra light emanating from the area. It's a bit of a pain.
But then, for me, yeah, because there was a video of some chap who was squeezing both ends, and the actual Evercade itself was moving around. The actual shell was moving around. But again, looking on a positive, if you've got a light bleed, and use it as a torch. Turn your lights off, use it as a torch, you know. So that's another positive.
Okay, silver lining there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm being very positive. I'm being. You thought I was going to be very negative, but I'm.
Yeah, but I think that was a manufacturing issue. Definitely.
Yeah, but it's quite. Yeah. It seems there's quite a few of them.
But is light bleeding? I'm no expert in this. Does that really cause a big issue to your playing experience? So would the quality of the screen be worse because you've got light bleeding, or is it just a thing that's irritating when you're playing it in the dark?
I think it'd be irritating if you're doing it in the dark. If you're like Ollie playing video games in bed, and your wife is asleep. No, your wife is or wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband is asleep next to you, and you've got this console where massive bright light is, you know, seeping out. They'd be like, "What the fuck? Turn that light off!" You know. So that could be an issue. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're on a train or on a bus or anything like that, or even on an airplane, and there's light bleeding, yeah, it's not for me. It's not a massive issue at all.
I saw someone post about the battery life as well. I've not seen many comments about that, but people commented the battery life for some's not been great, or have there been some issues with it?
What response is that?
About the torch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can use that. Yeah, we're obviously jesting, of course, but yeah, happy for you to use that.
That's the first time someone's taken one of Dorbs' ideas and asked permission to use it. Not that I want to bring that old chestnut back.
Well, right. Do you want to go on little lad navigate?
We've gone months without that coming up. So
I can go down there. Yeah.
James is asking a question about the viewing angles. And yes, I believe it has. I think that was one of the big appeals of it. To be honest, I never had an issue with the viewing angles of the original, because I'd always be looking directly at it. I know a lot of people brought it up as a problem, but it never really bothered me personally. But I have seen a lot of people said when you are playing it and you're looking at different angles, it is much better. So I heard that is
the viewing angle of the screen. I was playing because I haven't jumped on an EXP yet, but I was playing my original Evercade Premier Manager earlier, and I never once look at that screen and think this is terrible. I must hold it in a certain way naturally. That means it's okay.
Again, positive for me. I didn't have an issue with the screen as well. Some people are moaning if they tilted it that way, but who plays a console like that?
Exactly.
Don't you play it head on? So I didn't have an issue with that. So what's that? I've been 3 positives so far. Let me
keeping a 5-bar gate for Doors' positives.
I am. Tell you what, though, there's one thing that concerns me most about the XP is when Ryan was on with James and It's Much More channel talking about Evercade, you pointed out that on the side of some of the carts it has that it works on the Evercade. the Evercade VS, and the Evercade EXP. So it's considering those to be 3 separate systems. So my worry is that they'll start bringing out games that only work on the VS and the EXP. And if you want to carry on buying the cartridges, you're going to be forced to upgrade it.
Well, they've already done that in a way. If you think about it, Tim, Game of the Month is only on the VS, and that will soon be on the EXP as well. The Capcom games are already only on the. Oh no, that's an added extra of the EXP. But if you want to play them on Evercade, you have to buy an EXP. It's very good.
Yeah. It's a good good market employ. Oh, hang on, that's another one for. It's a good. I think it's. I ain't got an issue with it. I think it's quite a good. Like Ryan said, I think it's a good idea.
My concern is that they'll start bringing out new carts that could easily be made to work on all 3, but they'll deliberately go, right, we'll make it to work on the new ones to push more people to upgrade. That's my only concern, really, because I'm kind of still on the fence. Because yes, there's been some issues, but like Ollie said earlier, it does actually look cool. Got a bit of FOMO. It does look like a nice device. The Tate mode, is it Tate or Tate? I think it's pronounced Tate. Who knows? I quite like my scrolling shooters, actually. I think that looks quite fun. But where I've already got the original and I've got a VS, I don't feel I need to drop another 130 quid just to like keep up with it. If I can continue to play all the games without it. But if they go, right, you can only continue to play all the games if you upgrade to the system, I'm then going to feel pushed to spend the extra money. And then knowing what I'm like, I'm going to deliberately not buy it because I feel like I'm being pushed.
That does happen in general. Like Nintendo did that with the 3DS, didn't they? Because the 3DS is probably one of the biggest selling handhelds. And then they brought out the new 3DS, and there were certain games like Xenoblade Chronicles, Minecraft, all these sort of games, but you could only play them on the new 3DS. So if you wanted these massive, big hitting games, you had to upgrade to a new 3DS. I did because I wanted to play those games, and sometimes you can't live without it. And the reason that I am wanting that EXP is purely because I do play the handheld. I don't play it as much as my VS, but I do play that handheld. And I would like that better experience, that better screen, that the newer chips and whatnot on the inside to make it future proof. I would be willing to upgrade, even if it was this case of, and like Andrew said earlier, the original handheld hasn't been in production for quite a while now, and they'd already said that they are going to keep supporting it. I think the next update, next firmware update is the last one, and then it's kind of locked where it is.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I can see there's some comments in the chat saying about it was known that the old one's not going to be on manufacture anymore. Like, some of the newer games might require higher power or the Tate mode and things like that. So I get that not all the cartridges will have that, but will they just stop making cartridges that will work at all on the old one, or some of the carts still work on the original?
Well, I think Andrew says there's no plans for it, but I would certainly expect it in the future without a doubt, because why would you keep not allowing things to work on, maybe pushing for those newer games, because we have no idea what is going on in the background. For years everybody thought they're never going to get anything like Capcom, for example, and now we've got Street Fighter 2, Final Fight, Mega Man X. Those Mega Man X on its own is a very expensive game if you want to play it on a cartridge or play it in a licensed fashion. And here it is on a really fairly decent handheld. So we don't know what's in the pipeline. It is literally a case of anything could happen with regards to some retro games and this system. So if they got the opportunity to be able to put some better games on the VS and the EXP and have to sack off the original handheld for that experience, like, sign me up. I'm in.
Well, they can't go backwards now, can they? Now, in my mind, now they've and I spoke about this on It's Much More's Evercade channel the other day. You can't go from those Capcom games and games like Elwa's Awakening,
that's true,
back to Intellivision games.
Why?
You can't go back to that, because those Capcom games look and play brilliantly. I know people have said Street Fighter 2 is the hardest version in the world ever.
Get good.
Yeah, get good.
Yeah, chat's advice, get better. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they might add dip switches, if that's what they're called, in the future, so you might be able to reduce the difficulty, which will be good. And I'm sure Evercade are looking into that. But you can't go back from you can't have Final Fight and go back to cloudy mounting. You just can't do it, in my mind. Now they've got Capcom on board. They've just got to keep building on that and getting these better games.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andrew. I know you like in television, but
you're not the only one. You know, Mr. Kraut also is a big Intellivision fan, so there is a market for it. You know,
to be fair, I thought Intellivision 1 was a fairly fun car, actually.
Yeah.
you haven't got television too, Tim.
No, I don't.
I don't think
Watch
many of
this
us are
space.
after that last.
Watch this
Television
space,
1
Tim.
was okay.
You may get it for your Secret Santa. Who knows?
Secret Santa incoming.
Yeah, there's going to be some disappointed people when that fucking Secret Santa kicks in. I'm telling you, that's going to
I
be
hope so.
one to watch. Potentially next week. I think we're aiming for next week. So anyone in the chat that wants to see us open some Christmas presents, some Secret Santa presents that we got each other, there's going to be some interesting discoveries on that. You definitely don't want to miss that. But before I go off on that tangent, EXP, bringing that one back nice and neatly. There's definitely some good stuff that we do need to talk about with regards to EXP, and we'll do that at the end, because everyone always remembers the last things that you talk about in terms of something, don't they? So someone was mentioning about there being like a battery issue. That's a new one on me. Has anybody got any info about what
I think people are saying that the battery's not charging to 100% when they're trying to charge it up.
Yeah.
However, there's going to be a firmware update coming in the next few days. I think Ryan from Blaze said he's going to be testing it in the next few days, and then after that firmware update, that should optimize the battery. I want to say that's the correct words that I've used, but Andrew in the chat corrects me if I've got that wrong, but I think that's the plan, that this update is going to make the battery more stable and it will be able to hold a charge longer.
When
Somebody
is that
needs
update coming out? When's that update likely to be?
I think in the next few days. I think Ryan from Blaze has said on Discord he's going to be testing it tomorrow for the final time, because Ryan at Blaze is clearly a very talented individual. The amount of stuff that he fixes,
absolutely, yeah. Totally
he must be some kind of genius, video game genius, because he manages to fix all these problems. So yeah, I think he's testing it tomorrow for the final time, and I imagine it will then be released towards the end of this week, early next week.
Okay, just in time for Christmas, hopefully.
Which is great. Sorry, Tim, dive in there.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, when someone does have an update to do, I think they need to go and do it at their local library and make a video out of it.
We said that the other day.
Previous stream.
Oh my god.
Well, let's also say
You said that the other day. Was it?
It was on the stream that Ryan did with James on It's Much More channel.
Yeah, because with the original Evercade, you need a laptop to update it. And James suggested if you haven't got an update, if you haven't got a laptop, go to the local library and ask them to update your Evercade.
I think somebody should try that just to see if they will.
I'm sure they'd be happy for you to download an executable file.
Yeah.
And you could never do it on a Mac as well. That was the thing. So I use Mac software, so I could never.
Now.
Oh, you can now, can you? I've always had to do it on Travis's. I haven't done an update on that handheld for a very long time. I think it does the original intro. I've
only ever updated my handheld once, and it was actually, I was quite pleased with how easy it was to do. I thought it was going to be a bit of a faff, but it's very smooth. It's really simple. So yeah, the upgrade actually wasn't an issue at all. But I've only needed to do it once and not had any other issues. I can't remember why I needed to do it the first time.
Have you only played it once?
No.
I think any of the other sort of small issues that people have experienced, button sticking, certain buttons maybe not working, they seem to be so small and almost insular. What's what I'm looking for? Instances.
Isolated incidents.
Yeah, isolated
incidents.
That's
the one. Isolated instances. So I haven't seen those be like a big thing whatsoever.
And in all fairness, if you bought like any device really from somewhere like Argos, if you got your delivery and there was a broken button on it, you would be able to get a refund and get a replacement. So I'm sure people that have received those and there's like a sticking button or something, they'd probably get it replaced easily enough.
The sound issues that people are reporting, is this the sort of the tinny sound to some of the games?
I haven't really heard anything about that.
I know some people. I know some people have said that.
Wasn't there an issue with headphones as well? If you put headphones in,
it sounded the same as it did as if it was coming through the speaker.
And there's something. Oh, yeah, the volume. If you put it down right to the bottom, it's still volume coming out.
Right.
I've seen that one, and I think there's an issue with. Is it like headphones with the jack? It's got like 4 rings or 2 rings. There's issues with those. As the EXP, has it got Bluetooth? I don't think it has it?
I don't
No.
know.
No,
I don't
that's a
think so.
shame.
Don't think so. So is that what it is? So behind the sticking carts, the mention of it having worse sound than the original is concerning. So I can't think whose video it was. Someone did a video and they were talking about the sound being quite tinny on some of the games.
Crazy Burger.
Was it Crazy Burger? So I think certainly Street Fighter 2, I think, had a bit of a tinny sound to it, but then he put Final Fight in and thought that sounded great. So it might be specifically to do with certain games. Again, I am not a tech person. I have no idea whether that is something you can fix with patches and updates, but I would imagine it is. Surely that's the kind of thing you could fix with a patch. Which, if it is, it could very well be that that's something that just slipped the net and could be fixed with now that it's a Wi-Fi enabled console. I mean, they could be pumping out patches, as often as is needed, really. And the convenience of a Wi-Fi patch is just turn it on, do the update, bosh, sorted. So if that is a problem, I'd like to think that could be fixed with some sort of update. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not a tech man.
No, Mark's said it could be emulation issues, possibly.
Yeah.
It may well be. The thing is with the sound issues, I don't know if someone like me, who I'm no expert in this kind of thing, I probably wouldn't even realise. But the market that Evercade is aimed at, a lot of these collectors or into retro games, they want perfection and they know exactly how a game should sound. So in a way, it's a very difficult audience to please. However, it's also an audience that want things to be right, so they should be aiming to get it right in the first instance.
Yeah. So I think, obviously, well, as I said there, it's the menu music was barely audible. So yeah, I'd like to think that's the sort of thing that could be fixed with a patch or a firmware or something. And you've only got to look at like the release of Cyberpunk. That game was getting patched. It felt like every other week to get it to function. I mean, I didn't have any issues with it. Again, I was quite lucky. Well, not too many issues anyway, but there were people experiencing terrible issues left, right, and center, making the game unplayable. And yet it's still sold like hotcakes eventually because the patches did come out. So hopefully this is the kind of thing that could...
A real sound issue is, and you would have this problem, Ollie, when you're in bed with your other half trying to sleep next to you, you can't actually turn the sound off to 0 unless you plug a headphone jack in.
Right.
And I would want to be playing an Evercade on a train, for example, and you haven't always got headphones with you. And especially nowadays, a lot of headphones I come across certainly don't have the auxiliary lead or whatever it's called. It's usually the ones you get with your phone have got a USB-C lead, haven't they? So you would want to be able to turn the sound off. So hopefully that will be fixed in this patch as well, that you're able to mute the device.
Another positive, it has got a 3.5mm jack, because I hate like when you get new phones and it's got, like you say, Ryan, a USB-C lead for the headphones. I hate that. I'd rather have a jack. So that's another positive. So that's 5. No, that's in all. I'm being genuine. I do like it when they have the jack instead of the USB-C for the headphones.
See, I thought that it would have been better to have the USB-C because more people have. Is it better with a jack? Is that better sound?
Yeah, because the jack is just jack of all trades, isn't it? Whereas if you got an iPhone or you got an Android, it's got USB-C, for example, or the Android's got their Lightning. They're all different. You've got need different headphones for everything. So, that's 5 positives. So,
if just because we've got a few questions started, if anybody does have any questions they want us to answer or things they want us to talk about, this is technically classed as an uncensored. So do throw them into the chat, because we've got a couple of bits we want to cover before we get to that sort of thing. So one of the massive positives that I really wanted to sweep up and throw out there, I know we've mentioned it, but we've not really sort of mentioned it a great deal. The biggest selling point for this EXP for me is that screen. I know people said the screen on the other one is fine and there's no issues with it, but when you look at those two screens next to each other, again, Crazy Berg's video does this, and there is another YouTuber who I have only recently come across called the Games Apprentice. He
nice
also,
name.
I believe, does a side-by-side, and it is night and fucking day, those two screens. It is a very, very tasty screen. that is the biggest selling point for me on this EXP. Yes, the Capcom collection is a very big selling point as well, but that screen is meant to be pretty fucking good, and it looks very, very good on all the videos you're seeing. So I can only imagine in person that must look pretty good.
Well, Crazy Burger does a brilliant shot where he shows Cathedral on the EXP, and the quality, he really zooms in on it, and you can really see the difference between the two screens. So it is very noticeable on his review video, so it's well worth going to watch that if you haven't got an EXP, or if you have, tell us in the chat how good that screen is.
And again, having double shoulder buttons, so your L1 and your L2, and your R1 and your R2, or whatever they've chosen to call it on this, that to me says a lot. You know, there's a lot of games, certainly when you start looking at things like PlayStation, PS2, that kind of thing, that needs two shoulder buttons. You look at things like Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, even Dreamcast. Did Dreamcast have two shoulder buttons, or was it just one trigger button on each side? I can't remember. It's been that long since I've touched my Dreamcast. I don't
Hang on a
remember
minute, Mega
double.
Drive never had shoulder buttons.
Yeah, Dreamcast has got one.
Has it got one or two, like the PlayStation?
Dreamcast only got one.
Only got one on each side. So it's only got one trigger on each side. Okay, so that to me is looking to the future. In my opinion, that is opening doors potentially for things that have yet to come. That is almost foreshadowing. Oh yeah, yes. Essex has said they're one trigger on each side. So even if you wanted to like emulate Dreamcast on something like an EXP, you don't need two shoulder buttons on each side. So that for me is another big selling point that is ticking up.
Dreamcast would be the difficulty for me with Dreamcast on EXP. There's no analog stick.
Yeah, I mean, it was more this idea that you can. There's going to be games that are yet to come through that I think potentially could be coming on it, especially PS1 titles and things like that. Oh, Andrew coming in there with a little Dreamcast A comment with a winky face.
Surely they've got to get Crazy Taxi on the EXP. That's been on everything. Surely at some
you would
point.
hope. I mean, look at that. Look at that as a comment. Don't tease. Don't tease. That's naughty.
Dorbs, you a fan of the Dreamcast? You're looking very
That'd be good.
Never
amazing.
Never played one, so can't really comment.
You've never
Dreamcast
played a
is awesome.
Dreamcast?
Nope.
Never.
Right, when we meet up on the 30th, we might have to rectify that. There's a couple of good games, some really good games that you'll get a kick out of. I think you'd be getting a really good kick out of Crazy Taxi for starters. That's a cool game. And Sega Bass
Crazy
Fishing.
Taxi.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at that! I'm joining Essex here, buddy. We need to rectify this. Absolutely need to rectify that. But yes, there's a lot of very, very good. Oh my god, that would be insane. You'd need an extra microphone to go into like the headphone jack.
I thought he was talking about David Seaman. I thought he was going to come in and do like an announcement or something.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
He'd do anything for money nowadays. He pops up on bloody everything.
But I think this console has got a lot going for it. If they can get the next batch of systems out with fixing some of these issues, it's only going to be good. It's only going to be good news. Is there anything other people want to kind of sort of wrap in here as we kind of sort of come to the end of the launch discussion? Is there anything anybody else wants to kind of bring in here? I'd like to think we've been fairly objective with the things we've talked about. We've not been, I don't like using this phrase negative, because to talk about things that aren't great doesn't mean you're negative. It just means you're highlighting a thing. But is there anything else anybody else wants to talk about in terms of EXP release stuff?
Can I just say, this is my point about David Seaman that opened our local garden centre ice rink. He will do anything. If we want him on air, you offer him enough bunts, he will be on air.
Is he on Cameo? Can we get him to do our Christmas greeting this year? But no, is there anything anybody else wants us to bring up in terms of the actual EXP release itself, the launch, and certainly the last few days?
I'm going to be honest, I thought it would be bad, because no disrespect to them, but every release that Evercade have had, there's been bugs, there's been issues, they need to do patches, etc. So I thought it would be keep that going, keep that memento going. I thought it'd be a bad release, but I never expected it to be this bad, and I mean that in a nice way, because in all honesty, the release of the EXP for me has been a total disaster for them. Just the carts alone, those carts not fitting is totally unacceptable. I don't know whether they're using the metric system rather than the imperial system for measurements. I don't know, but for me, it's been a total disaster. And yeah, they put out something on their website, which is all good, all fine. But for me, they should start apologizing to people. People have spent 130, 150, 160 pounds, whatever, and they've been given games that they bought previously, or it's in some instances new games that don't fit that console. And them saying, "Oh, it's only the first 10 cartridges that it's affected," is not true. It's new carts as well. So for me, I think they really need to start apologizing to people. You know, maybe like Funstock with the robbery, you know, give them a discount or something like that. Just don't put out a statement and just gloss. For me, gloss. This is my opinion, not anyone else's here, but just gloss over it completely without even offering an apology and ignoring the light bleeding as well. They've completely ignored that. So yeah, I'd like to see him make vast improvements, and I think the way to do that first of all is with an apology.
Well, they do say contact. I just read that statement again, and they do say contact support, the Evercade support email address for any issues. However, they're not going to replace. Well, I'm putting words in their mouth here. Are they going to replace all 10 of those cartridges for you if you put them in one by one and they're jammed into the system?
But you can't use them. There's even, I saw a comment today from someone saying he's got an EXP. He's not going to use those carts on his EXP. He's going to use it on the original handheld. What happens if like they become bugged for whatever reason? He can't play them again. It's all right saying, "Oh, contact us," but for me, what they should have done is issued out a statement saying, "We're really sorry about this. This was not planned. Issues have happened. We used, I don't know, wrong schematics for the carts and for the cartridge where the carts go in." You know, just to put a wishy-washy statement out with no apology, I think is not.
I think it's being honest. It's being honest, man.
Yeah.
So I still don't quite understand how they found themselves in this situation, because it's not all of them. So it's not, like I say, it's not a schematics thing or like an actual build, because it would be happening on all of them. So if it's only happening on a few, I don't know what percentages we're looking at here, but there's a certain percentage of them where they've got these issues with stuck carts. What's different with those ones than the ones that didn't have that problem? Is it the carts, or is it the console itself?
Yeah,
who knows? Who knows?
It is a strange
some people's Orion carts are going in fine. Some people, like that video is on there. It's on their Reddit page. You can go and have a look at it. He's put his Orion cart in his one, and he can't get it out.
Yeah. It's a real shame.
You know, maybe send some Vaseline or something. I don't know, but for me, what they should have done first of all is put out an apology at the beginning of that statement that they put out, saying, "We're really sorry this has happened. This is not up to our usual standards." You know, even if they didn't mean it, just put an apology there, rather than just say, "Oh, it's only affecting the first 10 carts," when it blatantly that's not true. So yeah, that's my little point on it.
Your little spiel, and it's an opinion that I think a lot of people do share. You know, I don't think you're alone in that.
If I spent 130 quid, cost of living crisis, yeah, fair enough. But if I spent 130 pounds and I've got carts that I bought 2 years ago that don't fit, I would be absolutely raging.
Yeah, because it does kind of make the other carts obsolete, doesn't it? And
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to get the sandpaper out or anything like that. So,
well, people shouldn't have to do that, should they?
No,
and
they
I know someone's
Exactly,
posted a really helpful. I think Blunners is in a different time zone again this evening. He's
a little delay.
Yeah, so people shouldn't have to sand down cartridges. That's
madness.
In my mind, that's not acceptable. And I know someone posted in the Evercade Hangout a really useful video. It may have even been Dave Lister who's in this chat. I can't remember exactly who it is, and it is really useful. And you do only need to sand off a little bit of those cartridges, but why should you have to do
You
that?
shouldn't have to.
No.
You really shouldn't have to. However, with my current Evercade, I know that all of those cartridges, I think the Atari ones have only ever been in there once to make sure they work, but they do all go in and out really easily. So maybe when I get an EXP, I'll be absolutely fine. And with Dorbs mentioning that IRAM cartridge, which is stuck, hopefully, and I sincerely mean this, hopefully that's only an isolated incident and there's only a few of those out there, and it's not going to be a consistent thing, and I'm sure it's not. And it may be in the case with that one, it's not the cartridge that's too big, it's the actual EXP itself
System.
that's warped or something when it was being manufactured.
Yeah, and I mean that's probably worth bringing in this comment. It might have already been plonked on there from Al, but I'm just going to plonk it on again. I think it's something you said earlier as well. People that complain always complain the loudest, though, so it'll always seem worse than it is. That is it's a fair point. It's a very true point. Certainly for some of those more hopefully isolated instances, I think that's hopefully going to be very true. The issue with that specific thing, though, is as soon as people start getting told that they're not allowed to say these sorts of things in a public space, that's when things start getting a little bit out of hand, because if there are people that are sort of actively trying to stop these things from being discussed, you end up with a group of people that become very, very angry about it, Whereas if people are just allowed to kind of go, look, I've got an issue, here's my problem, and other people can go, look, I've got no problems whatsoever, mine's working fine. It's a happy medium as long as everyone is able to say what they want to say in a respectful way, and not be attacked or censored or shut down for just speaking their mind and being either really happy or a little bit aggrieved. Dorb said you spent money, you want it to work. People should be allowed to say those things.
Well, people should have sympathy for people whose devices don't work when they get them. Instead of saying an instant response of email Blaze, yeah, I will email Blaze, but I'm someone who likes to share problems with a community, and you want to get feedback from them to say, oh no, I've not had this issue, because you want to know if you're an isolated incident. You don't know, do you? It could be everyone whose IRAM cartridge is stuck. So of course you want to put that out in the Evercade Hangout, for example, on the Facebook group, because people will be able to help you with it. They might say, contact Blaze. Oh no, you've not put the cartridge in the right way. I don't know. You get all sorts of silly things.
Somebody could say, "Oh, I had that problem. This is how I fixed it." Things like that.
Yeah,
if you feel like, "Oh, I've got a cart stuck in my Evercade," a helpful response is, "Works fine for me." It's like, okay, that doesn't fix my problem. It's like it's still stuck. It's like, I'll stop being so negative. It's like
you're driving down the motorway.
Stuck.
You're driving down the motorway and there's a car on the side of the road with flat tires. Hey, my tires are fine. See you later. You wouldn't do that. You just wouldn't do that.
But you probably would. Mad. You'd probably keep on driving because
you do it silently. Yeah.
You wouldn't pull over and rub it in, would you?
You'd pull up really slow.
But I think the point of all of this that I'm going to kind of come around to, and it's almost going to lead me quite nicely onto my little thing that I want to get off my chest, which I'm not going to dwell on whatsoever. But the whole point of this is it's a community. This idea of community. People banned this word around left, right, and center without, I think, actually understanding what it is. Community is about people coming together to help each other, to support each other, whether that's in a good way, for the love of something, or support people who are having not such a great time with something, but still want to be involved with a particular thing. And the easiest way to make a community opening and very welcoming, and make a community work fundamentally, is to accept that not everyone is going to have the best experience of whatever it is that you're talking about. And this last 48 hours for me would have been a prime example of how community should work. So we keep mentioning this group on Facebook, the Evercade Hangout. Highly recommend anyone that's into Evercade, go over and join that group. It's a very newish sort of Facebook page. It's been around for a little while, but certainly in the last couple of months, it's seen its members grow pretty quickly.
We also did the Evercade World Cup in there. as well, which was a poll that I ran all through the World Cup. So all the cartridges kind of competed against each other, and the Codemaster collection won the Evercade World Cup. So we do have cool things going on in there, and that got loads of interaction. It's not just people in there moaning about their EXP not working or anything like that.
Not at all.
Some really good debates. Even Dorbs gets involved with some of the debates. What's your favourite feature of the EXP? And we always have the option of I prefer a flan in every single poll that we do. Which is, if anyone knows which comedy that's from, let us know in the chat. You get a bonus point for that.
Are we allowed to? Are people allowed to share YouTube links in there?
Yes. Are they not?
Okay. Yeah, I think.
Well, yeah, there's no post approval or anything, is there? So
fantastic.
as long as people aren't spamming it with non-Evercade related content, then it's absolutely fine. And even if it wasn't Evercade related, if it was in some way linked to Evercade, then it would be absolutely fine. So yeah, please do all join the group, because it's got a lot of interaction, and it's growing, and it's a really cool place, and we're all really enjoying it.
Exactly.
Is Michelle still watching? I'll do my taste test in a minute if she still is.
Excellent.
She's
Excellent.
probably gone now. I imagine she's probably watching.
Get in there and prepared.
Some TV, probably playing some COD.
No, she needs to rest now. She's got carpal tunnel, hasn't she? She's been told by doctors and whatnot to actually not play games and rest hands.
Oh, of course, yes.
She best not be fucking playing COD.
Yeah. If you're still in, Michelle, let us know.
Really love this comment from, and he's new. I've not seen him here before, so welcome, Death Star. The success of Evercade has got to this stage because of its community. All voices are valid, good and bad.
Exactly.
I think that's a really good point.
That is, yeah.
And you know, just to lead on from that a little bit, I also don't believe that a company like Blaze and people that work for Evercade would actually want to kind of just hear people saying how wonderful something was if it wasn't, because ultimately they're making a product that speaks to certain people, and we want that product to work. We are video game consumers, we are video game collectors. We want this product to be amazing, and it always gets good, you know. So these little stumbling blocks at the start, yes, it's a pain, and unfortunately it's just topic, and it's hot topic, and people want to talk about it, hence why we're talking about it now. But you know, I don't even think Blaze and Evercade would want to just surround themselves with people that just say how wonderful something is if it's not, because ultimately there are people that don't give a shit about retro video game collecting and all this kind of stuff, who will just buy this product for their partner because they know they liked Super Nintendo when they were younger. And if it's terrible, well, people aren't going to buy anything else, are they? They're just going to leave it. They might even take it back. Whereas if it's a great product and you only get to be a good product by, you know, having people critique it slightly, you know. So it's not like a catch-22 thing whatsoever. But we've always said on our channel that we will always discuss the good, the bad, the indifferent, because, you know, there are 5 people here with 5 very different opinions on pretty much everything. You know, we've got common ground. We all get on very well as friends, but, you know, we all think very differently about things. And that is the world. The world thinks differently about everything. So, yeah. God, I went a bit deep then. I apologise for that.
Yeah, well said.
Shall we get on to the questions whilst...
Yes.
Should I do my taste test first?
Oh, go on, Dels. Yes.
So I've been waiting for that.
Well, let me hide the address. So yeah, this arrived today from Saint Michelle.
The address.
She's on Twitch last Friday and doing a quiz, which I won. I beat some bloke called Butters. He wasn't very good, to be fair. So she sent me this today, and there's actually a little nice message.
Fight and talk.
Oh, where's the message? There you go. So I've got a lovely little card there.
Does it say neck it?
Thanks for joining us, Doors. Merry Christmas. So my first Christmas card. So let's just put that on there. So yeah, I got this Wraith Sports Energy. So you can see that.
That's cool artwork. I like that.
There's a couple of flavors. I've gone for the flavor which is Gamer Bathwater. So I'm interested to see what it tastes
doesn't
like.
sound like an appealing flavour.
Well, I don't know what my bathwater tastes like, but
I mean, hopefully not that drink, because I don't really want to have a drink that tastes like your bathwater.
So hang on, I don't know how you put a tablespoon in.
Let's get in Stella.
Did you not have this prepared?
One scoop. You got a scoop. Okay, so right. Let me just. Is there a scoop?
Uno Scoope.
Okay, so it's like
we
white powder.
will get back to Evercade shortly, I promise.
White powder.
Please stick with us.
Smells quite nice. So it says a scoop, so I don't know. I should just go for a scoop. I've got my water. So
we're all like waiting with
one
bated
scoop.
breath to see Daub, because
This is the
there a
anticipation
scoop
is
in it?
killing me.
it is, because we've
Oh, there is
Have
a
you got
scoop.
some ice cubes?
yes, Michelle's asking if you
Oh,
got
no, I
ice cubes,
haven't.
Daubs.
No.
Ah, mate.
Yeah,
There's
There's a scoop. There's a
Yeah.
scoop. Look.
Daubs does have a history of not liking certain things. Me and Ryan have tried to give Daubs
Right,
tasters of all kinds of, decent alcoholic beverages, which he doesn't like. So I'm going to be very intrigued to see how.
It's a bit like Alka-Seltzer. It's going a bit blue. So. Okay.
Right. So
Oh, look at
before you drink it, can we confirm from Michelle that there's nothing else he has to do to that because otherwise, if he's if he's made it wrong and makes it taste like shit.
It's gone blue. Look at that.
You've got to snort the powder first.
Is it a woo woo? Is it called a
Like
woo
a
woo?
clash of lemon on it as well.
I'm giving it a good
Yeah.
stir.
Wow, that has turned very blue, hasn't it?
Right, here we go.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
it smells very nice.
What does it smell like?
Sherbet.
Sherbet. Okay.
It smells like sherbet. It
sherbet.
doesn't smell like Game of Bathwater. Here we go. That is very, very tasty.
Rub your
I
head and
don't even
sneeze
know.
3 times.
I'm getting a bit of blueberry, but it's very, very tasty.
That's it. That's going to like fire Daubs up now for like the rest of the evening. Once the stream's finished, that's it. He's going to be buzzing his tits off.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it, but it's quite crystallised.
I don't know if that's the type of thing you should be taking just before you go to sleep.
Yeah, it's
Wired.
quite late in
Tonight.
the day.
I ain't getting any sleep, so I'm going to be nocturnal.
It's a
Bring it
bit
with you
late
next
for
week, Daubs. I
caffeine.
want to
Yeah,
try
I
some
will.
of this.
What
Bring it
we-
with you
yeah,
next
we-
week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
good
Michelle,
shout.
we're
Awesome.
meeting up next week, so I'll take it to the blokes next week.
QVC channel here.
We'll all,
We
Yeah.
have gone all
Isn't it, Rob?
QVC
Isn't it?
here, haven't we?
Yeah, look at that.
He's a
So,
cider man.
Just
And was it
just
the
while
old
we're-
was it Jules from Pulp Fiction? He goes, that is a tasty beverage. Yeah, very, very nice. Quite sweet. Quite
So for
sweet. But
anyone
yeah,
in the
that's very
chat
nice.
that wants a new Twitch channel to jump onto, Saint Michelle 09. I think I got
And
that
she's really,
right.
Mhm.
well,
Yeah,
Oh,
head on
no
over to her Twitch channel 09. It was a question, making sure that's right. Head on over to her Twitch channel. Lots of good stuff coming once she's rested and recuperated.
I'll show you my BS
So,
before we go.
should we go to the starred
slushies.
questions and comments? If anybody does have questions or things they want us to talk about or anything, do bung it in the chat. We will do our best to get to it. Like I say, we are uncensored. We will do our best to speak openly and honestly. So what have we got in the starred one? So the first one, I think this is stored probably by Daubs. How do you know if you're blocked?
Well, basically, I can't see anything on Facebook. I can't see anything on Twitter, and I can't see anything on Instagram. So
Yeah. You normally, if someone else isn't, you can go into a group and be like, "Oh, have you seen this in that group?" And people go, "I can't find the group." That normally
Right.
means you're blocked.
I can see it on the RGR Twitter channel. I can see the stuff, but as soon as I click on my personal Twitter, it says I'm blocked. I can show you actually if you want.
So this next one, while Daubs fires that up, will be specifically for Ryan from our very good friend, Mr. Rob Taylor.
Oh, legend.
Ryan,
Like Rob.
what's your thoughts on the home computer cards?
I like it how I've got my own question. It's quite nice actually that he didn't want to. He doesn't
was he
care
not
what any of
asking
the
us?
rest.
Doesn't
Yeah,
want
it's
us
just
to
nice,
answer,
isn't it?
yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm obviously
There you go.
Rob's favourite.
Oh, it's like a blank canvas for Daubs, and you
Blocked.
can't see
There you go.
anything.
So-
Yeah, so with the computer collection, I'm the C64 collection. I'm hoping to get for Christmas, so I will let you know my thoughts on that. I never had a Commodore 64, and in my mind, the games don't look brilliant. However, I will give it a try. And I'm really looking forward to the Amiga games. My next door neighbour, when I was younger, used to have an Amiga, and I used to spend hours around there playing games like Sensible World of Soccer, Moonstones, Manchester United in Europe. So I'm hoping for some of those. Robocod, that was always good on the Amiga. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get some of those games on the Amiga collection. So really looking forward to that. Rest of home computer Spectrum and stuff doesn't really interest me. However, as I'm going for a complete set of Evercade cartridges, I will need to pick it up if they go down that route.
Excellent. Next question from Mr. Dave Lister. When's the flan coming?
It's in the oven. It's in the oven.
I mean, at some point we're going to have to do some sort of meetup and have a flan as an available for everybody that attends, some sort of like mini flan of some sort, maybe. Probably just talking myself into making a shitload of flans there.
Do you know what? I'm actually getting a bit of a buzz from this as well.
I'm surprised you drinking it
Give
pretty
me a bit
quick.
of a buzz.
Drinking
I can feel it here. I
quick.
can feel it here.
Next question from Essex. Yes, the A4 versus A3 poster. So this was specifically, I think, from someone in Europe, I believe, who put up in the Hangout. Did they put it in the Hangout, or did they put it in the other group that we can no longer see?
Yeah,
Can't remember
I
now.
think this has been answered. It was basically the same person that designed the carts. They were using the metric system rather than the imperial system. So unfortunately, they got it mixed
Well, you were
up.
coming out with like a genuine answer there.
I guess if they've promised an A3 poster, then you should be getting an A3 poster. But and I guess if you were really looking forward to getting an A3 Street Fighter poster and had already brought a frame and everything to put it up on your wall, you're going to be a little bit disappointed, aren't you? But the long and short of it, how many people actually do anything with the stuff that's bundled in?
Rarely.
It wouldn't be on my. It wouldn't be on my wall with Joe Guest, Anna Nicole Smith, Pamela Anderson. It wouldn't be on my wall with that lot. So it doesn't really bother me. But yeah, I can see why people are quite annoyed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So the next one was from Crazy Burger. When are you guys getting an EXP? So I guess around table discussion. Mr. Blunners, are you still interested in an EXP considering you are? We'll let that delay catch up.
So I've got a bit of a delay. I don't know. Yeah, let the delay catch up.
Are you in America?
Yeah, March. Yeah, I reckon I'll get one about March for my birthday, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I wonder if Blunners will get one before he gets this message.
I'm hearing you guys perfectly.
Okay, so Mr. Ryan, when are you thinking of getting one?
I'm kind of thinking, do I wait for a second batch? But then you like this word, Nintendo Ollie, so I'm stealing it from you. But I get FOMO every now and again, and I'm hoping to get Elwa's Awakening and Cathedral for Christmas, and it looks so good on the EXP on that screen. And it makes me think, do I really want to play it on my original handheld? I do still like my original handheld, but seeing Crazy Burger's comparison, it's like it needs to be played on a much better screen. So
yeah,
I don't know, maybe January I might take the plunge. I know Funstock have got a deal where you get a key ring and an A4 poster, not an A3 poster. So yeah, I might, and a case, so I might jump on that in January.
No, and you're like Ron, you'll get an A3 poster instead.
Hopefully. Whatever size the poster is, I'm not going to be doing anything with it. I might even give it away on this channel.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and I'll give away the keyring and all the other bits that I get with it, because I won't be doing anything with it.
Exactly, you're very generous with things like that. You know, I've seen you do that in the past. You know, you're very generous with giving these little trinkets out to people. Okay, so you know, potentially early in the year, maybe in the second wave, maybe in the first wave, we'll see how long that fear of missing out lasts with Ryan. We'll see who lasts the longest between me and you. We'll see who caves first. Mr. Tim, are you interested in an EXP?
Yeah, I am a bit, but I don't have any immediate plans to get one. I would say no immediate plans.
Okay.
So, but I'll keep an eye on the situation. Maybe I think it's one of these things where I've got so many other things to play on that.
Yeah,
I can't really justify spending the money on it at the moment, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And Mr. Dorbs, have Evercade sort of hooked you back in with the EXP, or is it something you're still sort of tentatively interested in being a part of, but maybe not necessarily from a consumer just yet?
No, not getting it.
No,
I'll happily play someone else's, but I'm not getting one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
Can someone answer in the chat? So I'm going off on total tangent here, and I was thinking about this the other day. With the EXP, or not the EXP, the VS, it came with a red lead that you could attach to your Evercade to use as a controller. Does anyone know if that actually worked, or has anyone ever tried it?
I think so. I think I tested it out, see if it works. I think it does work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never
I
tried
don't think I've ever actually used it. I just tested it to see if it worked, and it worked.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we know if the
Interesting.
EXP works in the same way?
No, it doesn't.
Don't know.
Oh, okay.
Someone did ask that. I think someone asked it on Discord. I saw it, and no, it doesn't.
Okay, so you could
I've
keep
got-
your original Evercade then as a third controller if you've only got two
Yeah,
or
I think
one
you
or
probably
second
could. Yeah,
controller.
for sure.
One thing actually, I was going to mention with the
VS.
VS, I was quite pleased with is that they did a lot of testing with third-party controllers. Well,
Yes.
I already had 4 game. I think they're called GameSir. They look like PlayStation controllers, but they're wireless. They just have like a little USB dongle you stick in. Yeah. So my VS is set up with like 4 little dongles in the front, and all my wireless controllers work on it absolutely fine. So that's quite nice.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about the wires and stuff because I
Excellent.
already had those controllers, which was nice. So
Yeah.
Next Thursday we will be playing VS all day, so Dorbs can maybe complete another game.
Suck himself in.
I'm busy.
No,
busy.
fine.
When is it? When is it again?
Next
Well,
Thursday.
You're going to
30th.
full
I have
one
some
game.
new cartridges as well, and I'm going to open them with you guys there. So let's see
Beautiful.
64 and
I think
we'll
I'm getting stuck in traffic that day.
Are we going to do some Mario Kart though? There was
Yes.
talk of Mario Kart.
Yes, throwing that out there. Yes, it's going to happen. I think Blunners is the new competition, so yeah, I'm up for this. This is
And
gonna be
my
good.
8-year-old daughter wants to play all of you on 2K22 as well, and she
Oh,
is.
she's
already
going to
beaten
beat
her once.
she's going to beat the shit out of all of us, mate. That's
She's
the
a
devil.
nut.
I've already beaten her once.
It's a new
Oh,
system, isn't it? I've not played 22, so
She
That
is
is
quite
different.
good.
So-
She
Get
won a
the
Royal
excuses in
Rumble the
now.
other day from
I'll struggle.
entering number 1, so she is quite good.
Yeah. I'm kind of like Ryan. I'm trying to hold off getting an EXP, although, every now and then I do find myself looking at which places take PayPal credit, which places will sort of give you, 4 or 5 months interest free. I keep getting sucked in with these nice little deals. I really want one. I really, really, really want one. The only thing that's holding me off is just a couple of these teething issues. If I can hold out until the next wave of systems, I think I will benefit from it. It's just, can I actually hold out that long? Especially as, I'm pretty certain that one of my Secret Santa presents is a new Evercade cartridge, only because, Dorbs gave it a good shake in the office the other day and managed to fling one of the discs loose on another thing. But, so I think, yes.
And I think
Okay.
another
Paper,
Secret Santa
yeah.
gift is another Secret Santa gift you may have might be sandpaper as well. So
Might be all right. Jump straight in with an
Might be all
EXP.
right.
Good combo.
Or
Those
lube.
hands fit.
Okay, right.
Lube.
Right,
No, he's got
smashing
loads of that
through these-
upstairs.
Smashing through these last couple of starred comments. This one, I wonder how many people realize you could swap your order to a white, so not to wait for the black ones. It maybe wasn't as publicized as some people think, but I certainly knew about it, and I don't own a or didn't put an order in for a Black Founders EXP, and I knew you could do that.
They potentially email the people that had actually ordered them. Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been like a publicized thing, but it would have just gone directly to the individuals that had ordered it.
Yeah,
Very nice.
blimey, smashed it. And that in itself is a really good thing to have done. If people really want that black console, that's fine. I think more people are more than willing to hold fire for it. However, if you just ordered it because you're like, it would be nice, and now they're offering you, well, here, you can have a white one to basically get you going. I'm sure when that Founders one eventually comes through, they'll sort you out with all the extra gubbins that you were meant to have. So that's, again, another great thing that Blaze have done in terms of their customer service. One there from Andrew. You can email support direct and explain. I'll see that someone gets back to you. I'm presuming
About
that's
him being blocked.
Go on, Dorbs, get it done.
Yeah,
Let's
go on.
end this
Dorbs being
standoff,
blocked.
and let's just become friends
One.
again.
I'll ping him an email. Do I need to
I
call
think
him?
Essex needs
How,
to go
in fact,
back.
how many positives have you had this evening, Dorbs? You're up to 5.
I lost count at 5. I
Right,
lost
or
count.
more, at least more than, at
Maybe
least
I'll
5.
send him a link. I'll send him a link to
Positives,
this.
There you
Do you
go.
want to chuck my name on there as well? Because there is one Evercade page that I am still blocked from.
You
Why
blocked.
have you been blocked?
What did you
I don't
do?
know.
You're like the
Blocked for
nicest man in the world. I don't know what.
No. I
Maybe
can
you
understand why
accidentally
I am, but
put a
Ollie,
laughing
you
face
know
on something instead of a thumbs
Oh,
up.
yeah,
or I
maybe.
don't know.
Possibly. I don't know.
You did something. I don't
There
know.
is
Maybe
one.
Andrew, yeah,
Well,
Andrew,
he's been
can you
hanging around with the wrong crowd.
find
I
out
think.
why
Yeah.
Ollie B's got that's the,
There is one Evercade page that I'm in,
Hanging around with
and there
Dorbs,
is another
not
one that
me.
I'm not. But it swings and roundabouts. I'm not overly bothered. They at least talk to us. We've got Andrew in the chat. We can't go wrong with that.
yeah, true.
Which speaks volumes for him, because he works for Blaze, and he's coming in the chat on here and putting himself out there for, you know, he could have got all sorts of criticism tonight or stick. So fair play to him for turning up.
Yeah.
And Andrew does
questions.
appear. He does appear on our streams, you
Yeah,
know,
thank
and it is nice to see him. And again, it just goes to show you that, you know, Blaze do listen to fans. They do get involved in their community and in the retro community. They do listen. So yeah, hopefully they don't think we're, you know, we're trying to be nice. We're trying to be cool because we do like the product. The next one I'm not going to address because it talks about how many of us are blocked from another particular page. We've agreed that we're just not going to discuss that because don't really want to talk about it. It's frustrating, and that's the end of that. So next one is, what's your opinion of the Indie Heroes 2 line up? I think it's belting.
This is the reason why I want it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks really good, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Apart from the current game of the month, which is the worst game I've ever
Ryan's
played
favourite.
in my life.
John
Wow.
Rue's game.
Yeah, John Rue is an absolute legend, a really top bloke, and spoke to him on a Evercade podcast about 18 months ago now when the first Indie Heroes come out, and Quest Arrest is a really good game.
Yeah, Quest Arrest is pretty cool.
When I saw this game was by John Rue as well, and he'd smashed his crowdfunding target in like record time, I thought this is going to be brilliant. And I put it on, and it's just a blob that just moves around the screen. It's horrendous. It's really not a very nice game. And apologies, John, if you watch this. I still think you're a top bloke. I love Quest Arrest, but I can't get on board with this.
Well, I've got some news for you, Ryan. He actually got engaged earlier today.
Here he is.
Yeah, there he is. We're going to bring him into the stream right now.
He actually got engaged earlier today. So you
Congratulations,
criticised his
John.
game on the day he got engaged, which is pretty shocking.
Okay, well, congratulations, John.
Congratulations, but
brilliant. I'm not even going to apologise. The soundtrack on that game is the worst music I've ever heard. Anyone, it's just awful. It's
I think you need to stop, mate. Just stop. Let's move on quick.
Yeah.
Quick,
Move
he's
on
digging
quick.
himself.
So before we go on to our
Make a game, you're going to get people who love it and people who don't like it.
So before we go on to just very short announcements at the end, you guys did give me a carte blanche to have one whinge about something that was not necessarily Evercade related, but we are uncensored, so I figured I was just going to do it. I've been sat on it for months. I've tried to be really cool about it all, and it's now just bothering me. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Hopefully people will appreciate it in terms of even things from being like an Evercade community, because the whole thing does just come back to this word community that, like I've said, people band around without, I think, actually understanding what the word means. There's a lot of things going on at the moment around fake accounts and, you know, people commenting on other people's videos with these fake accounts and all this kind of crap. And, you know, it's very apparent that we're slowly getting dragged into some of this stuff. And we all agreed that we were just not going to talk about it. We were not going to address it because it's the easiest way to just, when you're not involved in something and you know it's not true, you just kind of back yourself away from it and just don't address it. However, everybody else is addressing it and, you know, gets away with having their 5 pence on the matter. So like Dorb said earlier with his thing, this is completely my opinion. This doesn't necessarily get shared by the other chaps here. However, I do feel that I'm generally quite open-minded about most things, but when people start saying things about specifically this group, which I do enjoy very, very much, this gives me a small creative outlet that I haven't had in my life for a very long time. So I do feel very protective of it, and I feel very protective of us as a group because I enjoy doing this. So yeah, it is annoying that this whole thing is kind of somehow found its way to us, and, you know, people behind the scenes, there's a lot of, you know, as people have said before, there's a lot of toilet goblins behind the scenes, you know, saying things about other people and, you know, saying things in groups about other content creators. And it's just something that we have distanced ourselves from the get-go because we just have no interest in it. We all have full-time jobs. We all have young families. Retro gaming isn't my only fucking hobby. You know, I have so little time in my life for crappy, shitty drama, let alone being involved in creating, you know, fake accounts to then spend time watching content that I have zero interest in just to wind those people up. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't want to say things about certain people and say some of these accounts that people keep bringing up and whatnot. But I'm just going to put it out there because I'm only going to say it just the once because it will make me feel a lot better about it. We're not involved in any of this stuff. We never have been. We never will be. So it'd be absolutely wonderful if people could just take that and let it be, because it pisses me right off, and it actually puts a downer on creating content. It really puts a downer on being involved in a supposed community when you've just got people not very community spirited. We've made some incredible friends from doing this channel, lots of them in the chat tonight. Some of these people are just absolute diamonds, and we really enjoy working with them. We enjoy having fun with them. People that we've met up with in person, just gone and played arcade games, gotten drunk with. It's the majority of the people in the actual retro gaming community are wonderful people, and we wouldn't be without them. And it would just be great if that could just be the whole thing. If people could just kind of run with that, except that not everybody has the same opinion, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that you have to then immediately start accusing them of things that just aren't true because they don't agree with you, or you don't like their personality. There's so many people creating content out there that all you have to do is just go somewhere else. It's the easiest thing to do. Just go somewhere else. And I'll leave it there. And I feel better for it already. Hopefully that wasn't too bad.
Okay. I was just going to say that I think you've covered it all really well there, but yeah, it just makes me think that if you don't like some content, it's easy just to scroll past and look at something else.
Exactly.
You don't need to take the time out to tell someone you don't like something they've posted, or they don't like their channel or their content. It's like, well, who actually asked? If you're going to put something constructive in, great. Or if you're going to actually boost someone up and tell them they're doing a good job, that's nice. Like vast majority of YouTube comments that I see are positive and uplifting and encouraging. But if you're going to just put like horrible comments to people's videos, it's just like, who's got the time for that? It's like, what's the point?
Some people apparently is the answer to that. Some people
do have the time.
Yeah, some people have an incredible amount of time that apparently I don't have. I'd love to know where they get this time from, and could they please share it with me, because I certainly wouldn't be using that time to make crappy fake accounts to comment on someone's video because they think it would wind them up. I mean, clearly it has wound me up because I'm discussing it now. So congratulations, you have eventually gotten to me. But it's just absurd. It's absolutely absurd. But there we go. It's what it is.
My last thought is like, you let people enjoy their thing, whatever their thing is. People should get to enjoy it. It doesn't have to be your thing. If they're making content on a certain topic and it's not your thing, then that's fine. Just that's their thing. They're going to enjoy doing it. Just let people enjoy what they're doing, and just let everyone let everyone be. I say.
Agreed. So, as we come to round everything up nice and neatly, we wanted to be sharing a little bit of Evercade content that people can be getting involved with, considering the EXP is quite a hot topic. There's lots of videos coming out on it on a fairly regular basis. So here are some channels for you to go and sign up to, and go and search in on YouTube and get subscribed to. So we've got the incredible John over at the Crazy Burger channel. John's done a very in-depth video of the EXP. It's very much worth your time if you haven't ordered one yet.
It's the best review of the EXP on YouTube, and I'm not just saying that because I've been on streams with Crazy Burger and I chat to him quite a bit. But his review is excellent, and I wish more YouTubers gave more than 10 minutes of the time to a device that they've been sent and then never talk about that device again. Crazy Burger covers everything Evercade, so go and check out his channel. Excellent channel. That.
We've got Mr. James Jarvis from It's Much More, who has recently worked with the channel next to him, Mr. Owl from Games Re-Up, on putting on the Nottingham Games Expo, which from all accounts was an absolutely astonishing success. So congratulations to you both. Both of those channels do Evercade content. I know Jarvis is doing some more streams. Ryan was on his channel a week ago.
Yeah, he does podcasts similar to this, and he also does playthrough of games. Some of his playthroughs are brilliant, where he plays through, I don't know, all the Atari cartridges, and he'll sit and play through every single game until he's got fed up with it, which is usually a few seconds with some of those games. But they're always good fun, so do check him out as well. And Re-Up, he does Evercade reviews and content. So yeah, excellent.
And the last channel on there is a new one for me that I only found from just literally YouTube searching EXP review, and that is the Games Apprentice. I've never seen his content before. He seems to do a lot of Evercade content, and I actually found his EXP video to be pretty decent as well. Very, very well worth going into. He talks a lot about the Tate mode and how that makes it work. So yeah, head on over to those channels and get subscribing for your Evercade content. Of course, keep up with RGR as well. If you're new here, please do click that subscribe button and let us know that you're here. We will be bringing you Evercade content as well, certainly into the new year.
Can I mention one other channel that you've not mentioned?
Yes, of course.
The Evercade project, where he's dismantled cartridges and things. So that's quite interesting. He's not got very many subscribers.
I hope he hasn't got one on his from his EXP, because he's never getting that one out, is he?
No, it's just really interesting what he does with the cartridges, and he sees like what's within the what's making it run and things. So he's quite an interesting channel.
I like channels like that.
He's done a series recently on an Atari hat, which has got about 20 parts to it, an Atari audio hat. So yeah, very bizarre, but well worth checking out.
Excellent.
And of course, Chad, who no issues with the Evercade. It's all
Chad.
Greatest console ever, better than the Steam Deck apparently. So yeah, check out Chad's channel as well.
Shocking behaviour. I was going to skirt over that. We have Liam and Mark in the chat, so we need to bring up Evercade Evolution issue 5 is out now. This is a fantastic magazine that is completely community driven from the ground up. If you're old school and like having magazines in physical format, head over to Amazon, type in Evercade Evolution. You will be able to buy every issue. A small amount of that will go towards them to try and help. I think they were looking to just try and make some money at some point to maybe include some prizes in certain things.
You can win a limited edition EXP.
Ooh.
There you go. That is insane prize. Yes.
Well, how they got that? Because there's none in the
Well, they've not got it yet. They're still waiting for it to arrive. So they've not got it yet.
I thought they jacked it then.
A few thousand of them, haven't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
But yes, if you want something that defines the word community, Evercade Evolution literally defines that. It is everybody who just enjoys the Evercade from a fan's perspective has created a
I may have jumped the gun there. It's the next issue where you can win the EXP.
Oh, he's blown it.
Yeah.
Shocking.
But buy issue 5 anyway, and then you'll be in a good place.
Yeah, buy them all.
When issue 6 comes out.
Support them.
Exactly.
And Mark and Liam are really good lads as well. A lot of time for them. A lot of time.
And like we've said it earlier, but we're going to highlight it now. The Evercade Hangout, a group on Facebook. If you want to come there and literally just hang out and chat all things Evercade, please head on over to that group. The only things we would ask is all the sort of standard stuff. Just be respectful of everybody. You can disagree with people. You can put the content out that you want to discuss on there. Absolutely. Keep it constructive. Don't be a dickhead is the short answer to most rules on Facebook. And certainly don't attack somebody's, don't attack somebody's characteristics, because that's the only thing I think on that page that would probably get you banned and blocked would be if you were just being an absolute bellend. You won't be banned and blocked for having an opinion is the short answer. So yes, do head over to Evercade Hangout. It is a growing Facebook group. There's a lot of stuff being discussed on there at the moment. It's a really good fun place to be at the moment. So yeah, head on over. It's a good place to be. Is there any
censorship as well? You won't get censored.
Exactly.
And you can join in with the amazing polls that I set up, like the Evercade World Cup.
And don't forget, we've also got our original Facebook group, the Retro Game Revival page, which about all things gaming, not just Evercade.
Exactly.
And the links to all of these are in the description of the video. So the Evercade Hangout you will see in the description, and then for the Facebook page, there's a what's the link that's got all of our links in called
For the link tree.
Linktree.
We've got the
So
website now, haven't we?
You'll see
Yeah,
all our
website,
social
yeah.
media, all our social media channels on there. So Dorbs and Ollie, Nintendo Ollie, keep those all ticking over. So
Try our
yeah,
best.
if you want to chat to them on Twitter, Instagram, that's the place to go.
Exciting stuff. I don't think there's anything else. Next week we're going to be doing our Christmas special, which will be a little bit more low key from last year's Christmas special, but it will be a good fun special nonetheless. Do we have a
I think
date
it
on
will
that
be
yet?
from my lounge, won't it? If we're doing Secret Santa, all of us, or are we just going to do that as
True.
a separate?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that as a separate thing, and then try and do a Christmas special the other side.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Or New
You have
Year's
to,
New
try
Year's Eve
and
special.
hide
New Year's
disappointment.
special.
Yeah.
At some point as well, we are going to be announcing our 1K giveaway. Are we allowed to tell people what it is yet? We haven't told people how they can win it yet. Are we allowed to tell people what it is yet?
Maybe wait for the Christmas special.
Okay.
Or reasons to tune in for the Christmas special.
Exactly. It's a pretty
Find
cool
out
thing.
what you want.
Hopefully,
Evercade.
it's not an Evercade.
It's not an Evercade.
That's the only thing it's not. But yes, tune in soon. We'll throw some discussions out on the Facebook group and let you all know when that's going to be. But yes, very excited to be giving that out. We haven't forgotten about it, people. We're just making sure that we've got everything that we need, and we want it to be good for when people can start entering and everything. I think that is it. Unless there is anything else people want to bring up at this
Are
moment.
you going to announce the next guest, or keep that top secret?
I could announce the next guest. I'm very excited to announce the next guest.
Or do you want to do that separate? Do that separate.
Do the Christmas
why-
special as well, because then it draws people in to watch.
It does, yeah.
Let's do both.
He's dying to tell
Rick's
you. wouldn't he?
got to keep staying tuned.
I'm
He's
so
dying.
excited. I am dying. I am absolutely dying. I'm so excited to announce the next guest. It's absolutely they're absolutely killer. I think it's going to be a really good fun show, and it is our first show of the new year as well. I'll give the date out. It's the 4th of January. Oh, get that in the diary. It's the 4th of January. You are going to want to tune in very much to that. It's going to be fantastic. Really can't wait. Outside of that, I think that is us. Thank you everyone for joining in. It's been an absolutely packed show. The chat has been really good fun. There's lots of people chatting away in there. Lots of new faces that we've not seen on here before. So thank you so much for tuning in to us on a Tuesday evening. It is greatly appreciated. Please feel free to share this video with anybody you think that may enjoy it. Hit that little cheeky thumbs up button just to let us know that you've been here. That's always appreciated. And if you are new, please consider hitting that subscribe button, because we've got a whole bunch of content on there. Some great interviews with some gaming legends, and lots of other chats where it's just the 5 of us Herberts talking absolute nonsense. So thank you everybody for joining in. It's been a really enjoyable show, I think. And we will see you all very soon if I can get the outro to work seamlessly.
Get your
Happy
get your
Christmas, everyone.
Get your Rafe energy
Bye.
drink.
Yeah, I definitely can't get the outro to work seamlessly because my mouse is
Oh,
being
dear.
an
Here we
absolute
go. I
menace.
will do it.
Anyway,
Go on,
hold
Ryan.
us up,
Go on,
everyone.
Ryan.
Here we go.
Thank you.
No, go on, I'm trying to face it.